This is Navara still. It was a more or less a 147 flat lap of Navara. We've got the video to have a look at the particular corner we're going to feature on. Okay, we know what's going on. What do we have to do then to make a positive or negative effect? What do we need to do on the change point of view? Well, whether it's a suspension change or an electronic setting you need to put into the bike, something you have to change the bike as opposed to the way you're riding, or a combination of the two of them. We're going to have a look at the entry into turn 6. Turn 5 is like an over the hill. It's like an over a slight rise, opening out right-hander, and then you drop down slightly into turn 6. It tightens up a fairly sharp, acute right-hander onto effectively a back straight, so it's important to get a good drive onto the straight. It's not a momentum type corner, it's much more arrive, get the thing turned and fire it out. Now what I was actually looking at there was from where I finished braking to where I picked the throttle up, which is quite close to the apex. How long is that? Can I improve that? Can I get onto the throttle a little bit earlier, or can I brake deeper into the corner? There's always going to be an element or a part of a corner where you just have to let the bike turn, so there is a sort of a dead part of the corner. But obviously if we can condense that as much as we can, that helps even more. It's what I want to talk about also here, this mess which goes on here, which is as you leave the corner, or what's happening here which is causing all this kind of problem. And everything seems to be going really well from effectively the apex on the first drive out the corner. Ideally you want to try and keep that curve more consistent. As soon as you get any hit with the traction control, or you ease back on the throttle for whatever reason, you're going to stop that acceleration curve, as it were. And then all of a sudden we go through this big hiccup here, and that hiccup more or less tallies with the first part of the bottom of the scale here. This is DTC, which is your traction controls kicking in, and you can see also by the yellow line here, this is the ECU on the throttle. It takes a hit there. The orange line is front wheel speed and the white line is rear wheel speed. Now you can clearly see as we're coming into this area of the track, the rear wheel speed is starting to get a little bit up and down, and particularly there it goes a little bit crazy. So kind of what's happening here, what caused that, and why did all of a sudden you get an awful lot of big peaks and troughs of traction, which of course matches what's going on here with the throttle. And you can even see I've backed out the throttle a little bit there, so I need to figure out to myself what caused that. What I use is the onboard recording so I can kind of see what's going on. So if we quickly look at that, arrive at the apex, start the drive out, and we ran onto the curb. You're orderly, you can only just hear a small amount of quavering with the engine note. You can see on the screen itself the traction control is really cut in hard. This image here matches perfectly with what's going on this screen here, and you can in fact see the front wheel speed, which is this orange line here, how at some point it starts to lose speed even though the bike is accelerating, and then it comes back with a hit and drops off again and comes back with a hit, and effectively what's happening there is it's losing rotation because it's essentially wheeling. So the last part of this spike of traction control is almost certainly the anti-wheelie kicking in. I like the anti-wheelie on the BM, and I have quite a lot wound into it, but I would have to say here it is a stay off the curbs a little bit more, but also this wheelie is also caused this second big dip in the acceleration curve instead of having a nice smoother radius to the curve. So all of the damage here is caused mostly by running onto the curb and then a couple of wheelies coming out. Arranging it on the screen really starts to help to make the difference. It certainly was a game changer for me from perspective of trying to understand it, particularly with a lot of information on the screen. Organising it so it actually makes sense and looks better.